Okay, Keith Siegel and Alon Futterman, director of the Kfar Aza Foundation. Keith Siegel, I think you don't really need an introduction. Anyone who cares about humanity and cares about Israel and cares about the Jewish people knows your face and prayed for you. You've spoken publicly about your story quite a lot, and I don't want to push you too much on it now, but how are you doing?
Trying to focus on the good and able to focus on the good, being grateful to be alive, reunited with my family. Also my wife Aviva. We were fortunate to come back to our family.
So your daughter got married.
Yes.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. So, but alongside of the gratitude and seeing all the good I experience, I think a lot about the loss and everybody that we have lost and everybody that did so much to help me, to support me and to bring me home. And think a lot about my community, Kfar Aza, my home for over 40 years. A community that Aviva and I raised our 4 children in, and we lost 64 of my friends and neighbors. Some of them I've known for over 40 years and dear friends of mine. So it's both recognizing and appreciating all of the good that I have, but also dealing with trauma, my family's trauma, my trauma, and trying to do meaningful and good things.
I have to say, when you first came out of captivity and the fact that you essentially hit the ground running to try to rescue everyone else who was left behind, it says so much about your character. And I was personally so inspired seeing you come to Miami, go to DC, go to New York, travel the world to try to leave no hostage behind. And it's very easy for people to say that as a slogan. And of course, as we're recording this, Ron Keeley is still in captivity, and thoughts and prayers go to Talik, and it's like the whole family.
Yeah.
But I just have to say, it was unbelievable to see that you really hit the ground running like that. Have you now that all of the living hostages have come home, have you been able to, I don't want to say turn the page, because of course, as Ron is still there, we're not turning the page, but have you been able to give yourself a little bit more time?
Yes, it's also very important to me to mention Ron Gvili, who saved many people's lives, and he volunteered to go and fight, even though he himself was injured even before he left his home and went out to defend Israel, to defend people, and as I said, he saved many people's lives, and he paid with his own life. So it's very important for me, any opportunity that I have to speak and people are listening to me, to stress the urgency of getting Ron Gvili back to his family and to a proper burial. On the 13th of October, when the last 20 alive hostages were released, I felt an enormous relief having them home, and specifically 4 of my friends that I met in captivity and formed a very special, strong, close bond with them. It was very, very difficult when I came home to realize that Matan Angrist and Omri Miran and Gali and Ziv Berman from my community of Kfar Aza, but the 4 of them and all of the other hostages that remained behind in Gaza, I felt like I must do whatever I can do to help bring them back and to help support their families. So since they had come back, it's different. There's a strong sense of relief and joy. So yeah, it's different. And now I am trying to find my way and find a direction to be involved in continuing doing something that will be very meaningful and important to me, because ever since I was released, and I'm so grateful to so many people, among them the Hostage Family Forum that organized trips and meetings, and basically they gave me so many opportunities to be involved. And I am just wanting to do good in this world and trying to figure out how I can contribute to efforts of so many people.
Well, you come out of captivity, and Alon is there. You were involved with Kfar Aza before, correct?
I got involved with Kfar Aza on October 10th, the 3 days after it all began. So I did not know Keith until he was released from captivity. And when he started to get involved with rebuilding Kfar Aza and helping us raise funds for rebuilding the community is when we really got an opportunity to get into some deep conversations.
And obviously, Kfar Aza has been really in the hearts of everyone since October 7th, given the magnitude of the slaughter and kidnapping. What has the situation been like in the kibbutz in the months after, and then now or in the years after?
So I think if we take a look at the timeline, everybody knows the story of Kfar Aza by now. 300 out of 3,000 terrorists attacked the kibbutz, 64 killed, 19, including Keith, taken into captivity, evacuated under fire to Shfaim, north of Tel Aviv, south of Netanya. And after about a year and a half, the community moves again. The vast majority move together as a community to Ruchama, okay, where they're basically set up right now. It's 20 minutes east of Kfar Aza. So they're back in the region that they know. Just to give you an example, people can actually shop at the same supermarket they used to shop at before October 7th, or send their kids to the same high school they used to go to before October 7th. So there's something, I think, very positive about the fact that the way back home has different steps, and it's not, just shifting right back into Kfar Aza, because I think that would be very hard, and you would probably lose a lot of families on the way that are still thinking about going back, yes or no. Kfar Aza is still closed for any kind of living. It will hopefully reopen as of the summer of 2026. We are receiving government funding mostly for private homes and fundraising for public facilities. So another way of looking at it is the government is helping everyone choose to move back, and philanthropy steps up in order for people to have the ability to stay after choosing to move back. So it's not just about rebuilding a home, it's also about having a kindergarten to send your kids to. It's not just about rebuilding your home, it's about having a young adult area, right? We're fundraising currently for 48 homes for young adults. These are not privately owned, so they're considered to be public facilities as opposed to private.
People do own homes privately in Kfar Aza?
Correct.
Okay, because I know there, unfortunately, many kibbutzim that were attacked, and I know that the situation in, for example, Be'eri is different than Kfar Aza in terms
Correct.
of altitude. Okay.
Correct. So there is a range of, I guess, how the different communities spent or split their finances between one another. In the past, as we know, kibbutzim used to be socialist, and they had, we'll call it one budget for all. Everything is very much equal, regardless of what you did. You got a stipend every month. That's not the situation today for most of the kibbutzim. It's close to that in Be'eri, which is also a very strong kibbutz financially. In Kfar Aza, over the years, they've been privatized. But if you take a look at the communities in the area, they're very different from one another. Okay, I'll give you another example. Netiv HaAsara, one of the communities that was hit the worst on October 7th, is not even a kibbutz. It's a moshav, which is a totally different ballgame. But in Kfar Aza, they've been privatized over the years in a very smart and responsible way, meaning that everybody owns their own home. If there's any wealth coming in because they've invested as a community in a business or whatever it is, they split that wealth or spend it or invest it in something that everyone can enjoy. So you've walked around Kfar Aza, you know how beautiful it is. So people don't become richer by living in Kfar Aza, but the grass is always green, and you have any kind of flower and education. They take education very seriously. This is the Israeli geographic periphery, okay, meaning that they're going to lack certified professionals in different areas, education being one of them. So the community always made sure to have additional frameworks once formal school hours were over. You come back and you're not a kid looking for a framework until the afternoon hours when your parents finish working. The community offers you that after school programming, and it's a huge deal in Israel.
In terms of the ability to help rebuild the kibbutz, there's so many questions, which I hope if anyone who's tuning in checks it out, you have questions, I'd be happy to put you in touch with Alon. So that way you actually can get involved and get, thank you, all of the answers. Well, how much have you raised thus far, and what else are you looking to raise?
So I'd say that the amount that we're missing right now is close to 40 million shekels, okay, which is just a bit above $10 million. And that is besides government money that we've received, and I'd say close to $30 million that we've raised since October 7th. I do have the privilege of working with additional communities. I have the privilege of also doing this work for Soroka Hospital, hired by philanthropists that are helping out since the Iranian missile took out the building. And I mentioned that because I have the perspective of what the challenge is in different communities and in different areas that were attacked during this war. Without a doubt, Kfar Aza is one of the most complicated situations that I've seen. On the one hand, you have a strong community, just about 1,000 people, 180 young adults between the ages of 18 to 35. And you need to get to know the community in order to understand how serious they are about rebuilding and how serious they are about staying together. And I think that's a huge feather in their cap. The fact that even 2.5 years down the road, all the efforts, all the communal efforts are about reaching every individual, reaching every family, making sure that we don't fall apart, making sure that when Kfar Aza reopens, as many people as possible consider moving back, and my gut feeling is that the vast majority are going to move back, is something that I think Kfar Aza takes a lot of pride in, and rightfully so. And we're doing everything we can so they're not, I'm going to say, air quote, just another community that was attacked on October 7th, but a community that has a chance to overcome any barrier. So moving back home is realistic as it reopens in the summer.
I know we're short on time here. Before we go, Keith, do you feel safe moving back to Kfar Aza?
I just want to say that I really, really connect to everything that Alon has said. And Kfar Aza, Kfar Aza is a part of me. And I believe Kfar Aza will always be a part of me. And the importance of rebuilding Kfar Aza, both physically but also as a community, has always been supportive, and wanting to help each other is very dear to my heart. And I mentioned before that I'm now looking for opportunities to do things that are important and meaningful to me. And I am here now in Florida with Alon and with Rona and Gon and Eti, a Kfar Aza fund delegation, in order to find partners, find people that want to be a part of rebuilding Kfar Aza. So I would like to ask and invite all your listeners to help us, to be with us, to make sure that Kfar Aza returns to the amazing, supportive, caring community that it was before. I think it's very, very important also to show Hamas and to show the world that we were not defeated, and we will rebuild, and we will thrive.
If it's okay with you, I want to share a conversation that I had with Keith, I think just yesterday. We were driving between different conferences that we were speaking at, engaging people, as Keith said, to get involved with Kfar Aza, help rebuild Kfar Aza. And we talked about your question exactly. Okay, we're like, what is going to make people feel safe when moving back? And there are different theories going out there. I shared with him that my answer, as a friend of Kfar Aza, I'm not from Kfar Aza originally. I'm from Ashkelon originally, so I'm a neighbor, but not close enough. So I said, in my own interpretation, my answer is threefold, right? So the first part of it is going to be who's governing on the other side, and we have nothing to do about that. That's an international question. It's a question for President Trump. It's a question for the government of Israel, but we really can't affect any outcomes regarding that specific question. The second part of it is at what degree or what level are the people of Kfar Aza acting so they feel like they can protect themselves? And here you go into the discussions about a new Kitat Kunanut, a new first response team. And what do we have today that we didn't have in the past? And is the role of a first response team still only, air quote, to stall for 15 minutes until the army comes, which was the original intention for these first response teams? Obviously, the answer here is going to be no. But the third part of it has nothing to do with security. It has something to do with your level of connection to the community, or in other words, how deep you feel about the community. How much do you feel like you're part of something bigger? Because in my own personal belief, when you feel connected to your community, it's going to affect your decision if to continue with the community much more than anything else. And I'm not downlooking or minimalizing, questions about security, God forbid. But I really think that in order for people to feel safe back at home, one thing that we can affect is to make sure that their community is as strong as possible. And what does that mean? It means asking direct questions if you want to get involved. What do you need in education? What do you need in health, and specifically mental health? What are you doing for the families who lost their loved ones? Okay, when it comes to commemoration, what can we do in order to help these families know that we're going to remember their loved ones? But also, what can we do in order to help rebuild? Kfar Aza today is at a point where it's rebuilding. Okay, that's huge news. When we put together the plan for rebuilding Kfar Aza in November of 23, construction was a huge part of it, but it also seemed like science fiction at the same time, because we knew that construction is not happening tomorrow. And it didn't happen during 24, and it started to happen during 25, where we put together the temporary living location in Ruchama, but now we're actually building in Kfar Aza. Now, if you enter Kfar Aza, you're going to see contractors and people working and building and really planning what this community can look like as of the summer of 26. So I think there are two very important messages here regarding Kfar Aza and the future of this area. One is that October 7th is not yet over for communities that can't go back home yet. It's not over for a lot of people. For some people, it will never be over. But specifically for the communities who still can't go home and are still living in temporary living locations. And the second is that we have a huge opportunity here. All of us, including myself, who are not from Kfar Aza, but we can partner with Kfar Aza. We can go online. We can look for the Kfar Aza Foundation. We're set up in the United States with the 501c. We have donations coming in through huge organizations that do not take overhead fees, PEF and federations, and America Gives, and you name it. Happy to connect to anyone who wants more information. So there's really an opportunity to do the closest thing you can to laying bricks in order to build something in Kfar Aza that was ruined on October 7th, or even create the better version of that. Okay, because we don't just want to go back to what we had on October 7th. We want to have a community that is bigger and better. Just to be very transparent, it's not going to be fancier, because it's a very modest community. The money is not for, golden faucets inside bathroom. That's not what we're talking about. But it's for having a new young adult neighborhood. It's for having a bigger infirmary. It's for having daycare center for kids. And we need partners. We need good partners. So we appreciate the time that you've given us here to send that message out there. And hopefully there are good people listening who are saying to themselves right now, how can we help? What can we do? By the way, that's been our experience for the past 2.5 years. Kfar Aza would not survive without philanthropy.
I gotta say, maybe you gotta have more guest spaces, because now you have all these friends you've met going around the world.
You're true.
I'm gonna come say hello.
True. And we're waiting for the day to host them back in Kfar Aza. And not just for an October 7th tour, right?
Oh, just exactly. Just hang out. Exactly. I just gotta say, Keith, again, I said this a little bit, but it's truly inspiring. I think I speak on behalf of all the Jewish people. Not that I really ever do that, but I'll do that right now. That you're extremely inspiring, and you have every excuse, reason in the book to curl up in bed and kind of do your own thing. And the fact that I've seen with my own eyes you parading around doing everything you can to help other people is truly one of the more inspiring things I've ever seen. So I really appreciate the time to sit with both of you, and to the opportunity to help promote what you guys are doing in the Kfar Aza Foundation. And God willing, you meet your goals and even exceed them. And have a lot of room for a lot of guests. So.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thanks, Daniel.